We're going to talk about how you make jewelry. I've got Jacob Pezos here from Jacob Mark Jewelers with me. Our last episode, we kind of talked about our sales process. But before you can start selling, I'm sure people would like to know how on earth do you make your jewelry, right? And so we're doing it backwards, but take us through the process here of you helping out a client who wants a piece. Do you have any examples of things you've worked on or things that you're working that you can
Yeah,
share maybe?
I do. Let me see if I can share it here.
You
Okay.
are sharing you're on your iPhone. All right.
Okay, can you see a photo here?
Yeah, 80. It must be
Okay.
someone's number.
Yeah. Good guess. Oh, I had a client come to me, okay? He's a football player. He we didn't really know each other. We get connected last year and he was going to a celebrity jeweler at the time.
Mhm.
And celebrity jewelers, by the way, when we talked about earlier, your costs are materials and labor. That's all you pay when you come to us. When you
Mhm.
go to a celebrity jeweler of any kind, it's materials, labor, overhead, and my celebrity that you're paying for. Okay, so there's a lot more costs involved with that. So he comes to us and he says, "Hey, here's what I presented to this guy, and it's this picture of the 80, and I want the city of New Orleans on top." And the celebrity jeweler drew out literally just a 2D outline of this piece and presented that to him.
Mhm.
And he said, I feel like there's more you could do, right? And so what I ended up doing was it probably took me about 20 hours or so to just do the city. What I did is I made it in full 3D and made it so that the buildings were actual buildings. They're not facades of buildings.
Sure.
And I'll show you that in one
I think
second.
I
But
think I see the Superdome and Cathedral.
you do, yeah, yeah.
I
So
don't
up
see
top,
any
you'll
beignets or
see.
anything there, but
Yeah, not no beignets, but that'll be one in the future. But we do have some iconic buildings, and so I wanted those to kind of be a little more prevalent. And so what happens was I drew this out on my CAD and ended up printing it out, which is this. Okay, it's a rough looking wax.
yeah, it's wax.
Okay, and what happens is the wax is what you have to do with your jewelry first. You mill it basically, or it's almost like a 3D print process, kind of.
Mhm.
Creates this 3D model. What happens is they put this into, you know, a vat where you're going to be casting it, and the metal will replace it. Okay, and you'll get a rough product, which then you're setting the stones and you're polishing, finishing it off. That's basically the process, right?
Mhm.
This is the finished product.
Oh, wow.
So you can see
Are there diamonds on there?
these are diamonds, yep, on the front. Okay. But you can see the main highlight of this piece is the city, right?
Yeah.
So I'll give you, I think, a little better angle here. There's little details in here, like the bridge, if you can see it, is
Mhm.
connecting. Actually, it's suspended. It's from one building on the left
Sure.
to the next building on the right.
Is that
And over
all
here,
in silver or white gold or
white gold, yep.
white gold?
And so yeah, you got the other half of the bridge over here connecting buildings. You can tell that the buildings are layered. Okay,
Yeah, I
buildings in
see the
front of
detail.
the other, and details like that, lines in the buildings for the windows, etc. This one in the middle, right here, is actually, if you can tell, maybe better in this photo, it's holding the whole piece together basically in the middle, because you can see the numbers he wanted separated in the look in this image.
Cool.
He wanted to basically separated, right?
Yeah.
Not blended together, which would change the look completely. So
Yeah.
this here building in the middle, and the bail, which is kind of behind this area, right in the center of the screen,
Mhm.
that's where the chain goes through on the backside. Actually says for Jamal in the background. You can barely kind of see it, but it says vertically for Jamal on the inside of his bail, and that's
And you
what's
did
holding
all
the whole
those
piece together.
diamond settings yourself, right? By hand?
Yeah, well, I don't actually put the stones in, but
Oh
in
no.
the computer by hand, I have to lay out every single stone. Yeah.
Right. Oh, so you
So
actually send it out for the
Yeah, because
fabrication
if you
process.
notice, when it comes out in this form,
Mhm.
it helps that you lay out all the stones for them so they don't have to go in and have a jeweler go map them out all himself,
You
which adds
use
a lot of labor.
a local jeweler for that, or
Yeah, I've got people in New York and LA who kind
got
of
it.
have different I guess strong suits, and
Mhm.
they can do different things better than the other. So I kind
So
of,
the actual,
depending on what we're making.
typically in a process, you have a jewelry designer, and the actual jewelry maker is different, and the
Hmm.
materials people are different, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you have to have designs obviously that cater to an audience, and you have to have casting relation. It's all about relationships.
Yes.
You've got to keep in mind this is an industry that goes back a very long time, and everything is on a handshake. Okay, I tell people this. Guys who want to get into jewelry and think that they can just pop in, it's very hard when
Mhm.
you're talking about diamonds and gold of just, hey, I'm a jeweler now. And the reason why is if you go to New York and you go to the diamond district, there are certain buildings where my caster is, for instance.
Yeah.
If I
Well,
walk into
everyone
that
knows.
building, I'm allowed to actually go up and go see him or whatever. If a stranger walks into that building, they can't go up. They can't just go, "Hey, I'm here to see blah blah blah," and get in to see him. You know what I'm saying?
I've never
Um,
been to the New York Diamond District, but when you were out here, we have jewelry district. Remember near Pershing Square in LA,
yeah,
downtown LA,
yeah,
and there are some jewelers where you have to have access to get into the elevator or to get to
absolutely,
the floor they're at. Yeah.
absolutely. Because I mean, here's the thing: if we take it back to basics, diamonds are untraceable, untrackable,
Yeah.
right? There's no scent to them. There's no way to sniff them out, get them back, whatever. And so, they are easy to take and never see again. And so people, they'll have 10, 20, $50 million worth of diamonds in their store. And yeah, you don't want just anybody walking in there. And so that's why it's kind of that industry. If you're doing um cheaper jewelry, costume jewelry type stuff, the harder thing will be establishing a relationship with a caster or a jewelry someone who is a supplier basically
Yeah.
to create your jewelry because they don't know you and they're going to want bigger orders up front and to show that you're not like a one-off type of person. But I'd say
So
those are probably the two biggest thresholds to
got
pass
it.
when you're doing
So
this.
part of the work in starting becoming a jewelry maker or designer is establishing those relationships and building trust because there are a lot of different players, right? And so, um,
Yeah,
for that piece, and thanks for sharing that.
absolutely.
What was, how long did it take from start to finish?
Like that one took about 6 weeks or so, 6 to 8 weeks,
Okay, six
which is a
weeks.
little on the higher end. But once again, it's mainly because the casting issues we had. It was, having to redo a piece 3 times is like you don't really get that happening,
Very
you
cool.
know.
So, do you have an example? Is that the only design you wanted to share, or do you have an example of your favorite piece, or you know,
Yeah, I'll show. I think I have another piece here.
you just
That
went?
one was a little more intense. Yeah, I'm showing you ones that are a little. Actually, in this next example, I'm going to show you is even more intense than this one.
Okay.
Um, but it is one of my more favorite pieces that I've done. This is actually the 80 is one of my favorite pieces, but I don't want to show you the same thing. This was for a player for the draft last year. He went to USC, and his name's Drake Jackson. He's a great guy, um,
Cool.
defensive end out of USC, and he calls me, and we get connected through I think it was his agency or something, and he says, "Hey man, I want to do something really cool." What's funny is I wanted to design a stadium piece. I had an idea last fall to do a stadium piece, but for a different player, and I don't think the player was really interested in it. I was like, man, I really want to do a full size stadium, like full detail kind of thing. He calls me, that Drake Jackson does, and he says, "Hey, I've got this idea for my draft piece. and I want to do the USC Coliseum. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was so happy because I'm like, my idea that I wanted to do of a stadium
Yeah.
for another stadium didn't work, but now I get to do the Coliseum, which is legendary.
Yeah, that's
So I was
somewhat
like, oh
iconic. They
heck
had
yeah.
the Olympics there, the LA Coliseum.
When he called and he said that, I was like a bit borderline giddy because I'm like, this stadium concept, I get to kind of scratch that itch, if you will. And I also get to do it for a great stadium. So I said, absolutely. So this one took way longer. This was
Yeah, it looks
probably,
like a lot
oh
of
my
great.
gosh. I mean, I so when I do these detailed pieces, I try to get every detail. I mean, literally, even you see the little collar, like from the the
Yeah.
torch where the Olympics and everything was there. We even from the sides, I put
Oh
every
wow.
exit and entrance, and this is how, remember how I said there's porosity issues on the other piece. What
Yeah.
we did was split this one up into multiple castings. So we casted this bottom piece here with the stones, this middle piece here, and then those little instead of the suites with the lights on them, we did diamonds on the sides, and you can kind of see those floating in there. And so
How do you wear this
yeah,
piece? It's
so like this.
oh okay, big okay,
So
gotcha. That's
yeah,
right.
yeah. So
It wasn't
it was big. It was
that's really
about
cool. Like that's
four
got the
4 inches,
UFC
I
color.
think, long. It's definitely a larger piece.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite pieces because man, when I tell you the detail that we had to do for this thing, it
Funny thing
probably
is
took like
I
a month to design,
yeah. I don't even wear a
if not more.
watch, so I don't know much about wearing big bling like that, but you got to have a certain amount of confidence to pull that off. So, and I
Absolutely.
realize that, I personally don't wear jewelry, but there are a lot of headaches involved in jewelry. So many quality issues you encounter. You said, it's hard to find someone you can trust in this industry, right? And so,
Absolutely.
for sure. And then, I feel like, we have to deal with our customers, and if anything goes wrong with the people we're dealing with, then it's on us to make it right. And so it could cost us a lot
Yeah.
of we've lost a lot of money just making things right for customers. And I'm sure
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
you seem to actually care about helping the customer and being honest and transparent in the process, because I think not a lot of jewelers are, and so, but
Exactly.
hey, that was a good time. Thanks for sharing how to do this, and I think we'll do another episode on maybe you can help me figure out the next product or service that I'm going to start selling right on the next episode. So
Let's
all right,
do
until
it.
then, please like and subscribe to this channel, and we'll have more to come. Bye.
Bye.